Hi, folks. So how's it going so far? Are you satisfied with the conference? So I also have a question for you to ask, which is so it's bothering me a lot recently. So do you feel like you have an imposter syndrome sometimes? Well, I do. Raise your hands if you raise your hand if you also feel like you have it. No, no. Okay, liars. We'll continue. So the topic here today is data experimentation and how to build a data experimentation platform. And the focus is on build. So I love to run experiments, and I love experiments that so much that I've actually built the platform twice for the past 5 years. And in both times, I did this from the point where there were no infrastructure in place, basically, really no infrastructure. And when there were no platform team to actually help around. And this included both client side and backend side integrations. The platform was with UI, without UI. And it also concerned user-based experiments, also algorithm-based switchbacks. And each time it was with a goal in mind to actually build something operational so that we can use it in day-to-day life and so on. But I still do have kind of imposter syndrome talking to you here on the stage. So this is shocking. And so clearly I'm more of practitioner guy myself. So you won't hear today any theory, but first of all, before we dive in, it's actually nice to kind of acknowledge that experiences can vary within different companies, and that it's kind of easy. What can be easy for one company actually may be difficult to another. So with this in mind, let's explore key questions and insights. So how do you build a platform? Or the greater question would be, why do you need a platform? Say Netflix runs hundreds, maybe thousands experiments per day. And they're just a streaming service, right? So they do basically one thing, and they do this good, but they run thousands of experiments. So why do you do it? Why do you build a platform? So the key question here would be, why build it in-house as well? And why do all the integrations? Why do all the automation? And why build a framework for experiment results? And so recently, watched this Lenny Rachinsky podcast, the guy probably, and there was a speaker, Claire Waugh, the founder of ChatPRD, and she had this beautiful question in mind. So which question, if answered first, would answer most of other questions? And here is exactly the same. So why do you need to build the platform? Why do you need experiments which you will run? And it may be growth, it may be kind of speed, it may be scalability, but whatever the reason, the reasons are, just answer the question first. So you'll still have the time to figure out everything else on top. This is a key question, and if you do it right, you basically have everything you need to actually do this platform and build it. There was a study, a small one, survey by YC Combinator, and the results says that many of YC startups are actually using A/B testing. Not many are usually using A/B testing. And most of this, 93% or something like this, use Optimizely. So the question is there actually a product to scale up? Is your product market fit still could be that it's still questionable? Do you have a solid product market fit? Are you sure that you have it? So maybe you don't need the platform. The next question would be like, do you have a buy-in from stakeholders? So could it kind of relate to the company goals that you're trying to pull it through? And more importantly, could you present the project in a way that kind of aligns your individual goals with the execution of the project? Because like nobody will trust you to do the thing, to build something, if you don't trust yourself to build it, right? So if you're not aligned on your goals, you won't make it. And the next question would be like, is there a sponsor to support the development? Like probably someone closer to product team, because you need because experimentation actually helps the product to deliver outcomes rather than like ship features and so on. So it could be like someone closer to the product. It could be also someone closer to P&L team, someone who just makes the decisions, because you need to weigh all the alternatives and consider kind of them carefully before making the decision. There are plenty of this, by the way, like most like Optimizely actually are focused on the content and marketing. So you also have like some other, like a few other platforms, a few other solutions will actually help you to build something just quickly, right? So for the product from start to end. But this costs some money, and this cost will add up. So another thing to consider. And so the sponsor also should be someone technical enough to actually kind of understand the need to build in this platform, whatever you're trying to achieve. So this is especially kind of true if you have no platform team around. And final question would be like, do you have the sufficient data infrastructure in place? Because many say they do, but the question is like, really, do you have the infrastructure? And this would be like, can you count all the metrics? Can you kind of count all of them when you need this? Like, are your pipelines reliable? Do you extract all the sources? Do you collect all the like 100% of the data you actually need, that you actually require? And having this like data available in data marts when you need them, like at least daily or something. And so hopefully you now have more questions than answers. It's probably supposed to be the other way around, but yeah. I mean, I don't like the answers, because the more questions you ask yourself, you actually kind of get in there. You can understand what you really need and kind of pull it through. So, and kind of these are key questions for you to consider before you go in for any big change or whatever in your company, which like build your platform and deliver some like an endeavor of yours. So the next question would be, so how to build an MVP, right? So you probably have seen this concept, have heard this concept of MVP like multiple times, but like we'll dig into what is an MVP and what is not in the context of like platform development or like product development, if you may. So first thing would be like, you want to design and build the platform, right? So you design the whole system, build the platform, the functional part of it, and you measure the adoption, number of experiments you run. Like, is it low, is it high, and so on. And the final thing would be to learn if expectations are met, right? No? Yeah, but in reality, it's not like this. Basically, when you try to do stuff, you want to do this in iterations. So you build it like iteratively, or sometimes you can even fake some components of the platform. You also want to measure, but you don't want to measure adoption. You want to measure the impact of experiments. So this would be like how much my company's metrics are moving, and what is the actual outcome of your platform or product you build. And the final thing would be to learn, to gain more trust, to actually kind of get this trust and continue to build your platform further. Or if you unlucky enough, you can actually like learn that there is a hard truth that you don't need this platform, and yeah, I mean sad, but it's actually the best outcome if you understand this earlier than late. So what is MVP? MVP is actually when you have to you kind of try to test your ideas with like reduce uncertainty, and you do this with less amount of resources. You do this fast. So basically, two parts of this. So if you just break down just word by word, even like 3 parts, but 2 key parts would be like minimum. Can you do this on what is the minimum, bare minimum that you can actually deliver? Because most of the time you actually like the opposite would be, say, like in Netflix or Uber. What they do is they have like much better resources and they can build much better platforms than you. So you basically need to think on, can you do the bare minimum here? The second word would be viable. Can you build the platform that like somebody wants, at least, not everybody, but somebody? And like, can you do this? Actually, because the platforms that nobody wants is quite easy to build, and you should have a solid reason behind. And again, like remember your why. So here comes the MVP to build. It's basically the product, right? So the product is that you build something that works for the final customer. This, in our case, this would be like internal customer. And the key idea here is deliver the value as soon as possible, and then improve. So MVP is kind of a complete product, yeah, sure, but many think it's just a functional approach, right? That you just do functionally, you do the thing functionally right, and it just works. Or you just need to do this like layer by layer, right? First functional, then reliable, and then usable. But in reality, it's more of a slice. So you need to do this kind of less and ship fast, and like it's not building it by step, but actually doing it as a final product. So functional would be, say, like we want to split the audience, right? We want to split the audience into variations. We want to do something that would help us to do this. And we want to also do the integrations. This would be like backend or client-side integrations. We want to do metrics framework for actually calculating the metrics. And on a reliable kind of layer, we have this data which should be like accurate and available. So it's very key question for this. Is it accurate? Is it available? We should have some like statistical methods, so tests, proven methods, basically. And so the final thing is uptime. Can you deliver this, say, split service which works reliably? Final thing, which is also the key component of the overall infrastructure, would be kind of, can you do the launch and setup? So like experiments can be easily launched, and then you have this way of kind of going through all the process from start to end. Second would be results. Can you reproduce the results? This is a tricky question because most of the time you actually kind of cannot. And unless you build this system which allows reproducibility, you won't be kind of accurate in what you do in the long term. And finally, like reporting automation, do you have the capacity to actually display all the findings you have? And the takeaway here would be to kind of build your platform like you build your products, or like design your platform like you design your products, using the engineering skills, using the MVP approach, and with a proper cycle in mind. The last part is actually, so maybe you have seen this too. This is a well-known Amazon leadership principle, which is called invent and simplify. Invent part is actually about doing new things, like new scale, new products, new platforms, or something like completely new. And simplify means is it like everyone? Is it the idea that everyone, no matter what type of job you do, like what the role, whatever, you have the opportunity to actually simplify something. Usually it's a process, but simpler equals like greater efficiency or cost reduction or whatever. And so like my key points here would be to reuse available tools, which is like you have SQL, right? You have SQL, SQL, you have YAML, you have Git, and there are some like shiny tools that can actually do everything for you. This is an example of I think Apple software or no. But that doesn't matter. So the idea is you actually can build this proper infrastructure in place, or you can just go and use two lines of SQL to actually split the audience and do this more reliable for you to start the journey. Second would be like YAML, right? So it's pretty similar to, you don't need to write a lot of code, or you don't need to build like fancy UI to actually launch the experiment, or kind of split the audience, set up everything, and so on. So the less is better. And the first example would be like Git. So you basically have everything in place already, and you have a version control. You have like CI/CD pipelines, and this also kind of works already. So why do you need another tool to actually kind of launch this on production or like other environments you have? So my takeaway is actually reuse tools available, and the emphasis here is on available. So basically, tools that you use every day. The next part would be to add components one by one. This is an example of actual experiment we run. So to build a client-side kind of experiments, you need basically three parts here, like feature toggles. Can you do the feature toggles? Can you turn on some features in the app? You need the caching, so the cache that will kind of make sure that every user, every kind of customer actually has the same variation, which is crucial for like statistical tests. And you need the events tracking, so basically just to kind of measure what's happening in the app. Then you also have to build a semantic layer for metrics. So this is an example of custom semantic layer that we built, but there are also kind of several other, like DBT semantic layer or DBT metric flow or cube, which you can try on. It's like the area is still emerging, so feel free to experiment. But the idea here is you need a simple way to actually kind of generate the query, the metrics to count on. Then the other part would be, so if you can actually count results like flexibly, and you have this pre-experimental data, you can use more advanced techniques like Cupid, or you can actually do a filtration. You can do segments. You can segment the audience based on the past kind of behavior they've like shown in the app to slice and dice your kind of results. And this boosts further boosts test sensitivity. And the final thing would be to actually use open source. So we are getting there. It's still not public, but the idea is that you can build your own kind of solution that covers all of this, or part of this. And in fact, I've built one, and I have been developing this for the past, I think, 3 years. Basically every part past experiment launch configurable as a set of metrics or tests, which basically saves time for analysis, for actual analysis, for results, conclusion, recommendation. So if you're interested, yeah, just find me on LinkedIn. I will post an update there. And learnings, basically, the last thing to actually kind of sum up this presentation. So first would be define your why, right? To build a platform, you don't need the help from platform team, but you need first buy-in. You need kind of a sponsor, and you need a data infrastructure in place, like 3 things. And first of all, again, so define your why for long-term success. The second thing would be to build an MVP, right? So to further reduce the risk, because reducing the risk is the cheapest way to actually there is available for you to do something. And so you kind of still want to know that there is a long journey ahead, and it awaits you there, but remember to start with MVP and test something fast and iterate. And the last thing would be to invent and simplify. So do not overcomplicate, simplify, reuse some things, add components one by one. And lastly, there are some open source things to try, but you have to control the narrative. Final slide, yeah, just if you're going to be in London, Dubai, Paris, just try out service. It's a huge experience improvement, so just search Willy in the Google Play App Store and try it, you'll like it. Yeah, thanks. I'm happy to answer your questions.
Hi, thanks for the talk. I have one question. You were talking a lot about metrics and how to measure the success and impact of experiments. I have a bit of a different question. So when you start building the platform on your own in your company, that's obviously an investment. And you're doing it, I guess, in order to also have some impact on some business KPIs at the end. Do you have any ideas or experience? How do you measure then the impact of the platform itself? Because if you would like to outsource this, you have to, I don't know, spend money on it. And as a business, you would like to know how will this impact your business itself? And my question is, how can you measure this?
So if I got your question right, is how you can measure the impact on business?
Yes, the impact of the, okay, before we didn't have a platform, but you were still doing the experiments, right? And now you have invested a certain amount of, your resources to build a platform. So as a business, then you expect that something will change. if you have an
Okay.
idea,
Yeah,
how
I
can
got
you
the
measure
question.
this?
So the worst part is, and actually kind of joined two companies before they never did experiments, and this is quite common. You can have like some pseudo experiments, so just I don't know, try some attempts to actually measure anything, but eventually, so this comes down to the cycle, right? So you try one thing, which is we need to automate the I don't know statistical tests, and we need to count the results faster. You do this, you try to kind of do the experiments, you see that the other thing is not working, so you try to build it iteratively, and you learn some trust to actually use this in the future, right? So you want to kind of build this trust with stakeholders. So the impact on business is obvious. When you do the features which kind of harm your business and nobody knows about this, you basically cut off some part of your growth. And the kind of pitch to stakeholders here is that we need to know the exact kind of features, the exact product parts that actually harm our business. So if you have a sponsor, if you have a buy-in from people around, and luckily you also have the data infrastructure in place, you should kind of already have the foundation for this and much better chance for success. Yeah, I'm not sure if I'm answering your questions totally, but yeah, this is it.
Yeah, it's a bit of a tricky topic, I think, and I don't think it has an exact answer, but thanks for your thoughts.
Thank you.
You mentioned Optimizely a couple of times, which is a sort of all-in-one experimentation platform. How did you evaluate whether to build or buy different components, such as just a tool that does feature flagging by itself or a tool that does the evaluation side by itself?
Yeah, so this is also like a tricky question because, in fact, thanks for this, by the way, because it all comes down to your unique business needs, right? If you are just starting up and all you have is just this one landing page, then just go for Optimizely. You don't need anything else. If you have a product, say some application, which does a simple thing, you can actually do some other integrations. And since most of this on open source, you basically kind of don't need to count the cost of this except the maintenance and so on. But if you only starting out, there is no point in counting the expenses, because once you scale up, this is when the actual problem starts. And if you say don't have a data infrastructure in place, if you cannot count metrics on a daily basis, it doesn't matter, because you kind of won't be able to build this. And so what you kind of need to ask is, so why do we build this platform? Is this to reduce costs? It may be. And if it's not, if it's just how cover more use cases, then you basically need to do this on a one-time basis, right? That you kind of assess your case, your specific use case, and you try to talk to stakeholders. You try to think of multiple alternatives and just assess. So this is not a silver bullet. I mean, I've built this twice, but I'm happily I would happily just replace this with anything else and the platform that works. But the sad reality is that it just costs a lot of money. So I've actually talked to guys in the app, and they were doing the estimation for our business, and they we're talking about 40K per year just to kind of do this amount of experiments we already had. And yeah, it just adds up. So basically, the more experiments you run, the more you need to control this. If it's just per metric kind of cost strategy that some companies do, so but you basically will be limited to this setup, right? And if it's I don't know just how many users you have, and you don't have many, just consider this and optimize for this kind of scenario. So like there is no answer for this generally, but if you understand your why, if you try to talk to stakeholders, find a sponsor, and like try to find the buy-in, you may have a chance to actually succeed in this. And the last thing would be like to actually consider this the same way as you build products, right? So if you do this just as a project, as an investment, it won't be like this in the end, because it's never a never-ending project. It's just a product basically. So you need to build this as a product iteratively by regularly talking to customers and so on.